Hey you guys, it's me LV, and this is Lena, and we're back here on episode 14, still sitting down with an awesome filmmaker named Brandon. Now, Brandon, I'm curious about your film called Through the Mist of Madness. Now, tell me more about that.
Through the Mist of Madness is actually, it tells you from which perspective the story is being told from, which is a man who's suffering from psychosis. It's probably been the most difficult project in terms of research, because it's one of those things where with this kind of content, because of the seriousness of it, if you get it wrong, then people are gonna take jabs at you. But I had to read, I read a couple of medical books on psychosis to understand the syndrome. And once I figured it out, I created sort of a psychosis model or a psychosis engine that the film runs on. The thing that was recurring was most people who suffer from the syndrome, it was a traumatic childhood experience that usually comes out in adulthood when they suffer from psychosis. So that's pretty much what the film is about. And through crudely made booby traps, the protagonist tries to evade this character that he actually accidentally murdered as a 6-year-old kid. Oh, wow. And that event actually comes out in his psychosis later in life. So he's trying to evade this figure, this man who wants recompense, a life for a life.
What did you learn about that particular, would it be in mental health?
It's eye-opening, but it's depressing. It can happen to any one of us. I think that's one of the things that's most scary about the thing. The way the story is told is actually how a person experiences psychosis. Whatever they see, whatever they manifest, it's real to them.
What got you to go that direction?
But most of everything I do, I don't wait for an idea to hit, or I don't wait for a dream to hit. Like, oh yeah, that's the thing. I just kind of do a deep dive and a free fall, and I look for ideas. And somehow I came across psychosis. I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And then once after I read the first medical book, the story started to come together. Once I figured out how it actually worked, like, okay, this is what I can do. Yeah, because you have to figure out. You have to research it and understand it, because you have to figure out how you can tell this story.
I bet a lot of people love working with you.
Yeah, because you're such a good team player, obviously.
Well, I think that. I've heard that, and it's because when, like I said, I like working with actors, and when I write, I keep the screenplay open, and then when I cast, I always tell them, hey, it's open, and then it's like, if you see something, say something. Mm-hmm. If you want to do this, let's experiment with it. Like with the ending of Sedalia, the lead, we talked about the ending, and she says, you know what, I think this might be too Viking-esque, and she was also an English professor. Or she was an English major, so I know she knew the story very well. So we changed the ending.
So you're very flexible too, right, which is good, because sometimes being too rigid can actually do the opposite for your art.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, where can we find more of your work?
So again, www.LVnthelife.com. Before I touch any social media, I post everything there. So that's where you'll find the newest information first.
Well, thank you for watching. We will definitely be back. Bye.
Bye, see ya.
You know what he does next?
What?
You really want to know?
What?
Are you sure you want to know?
What did they do?
He gets...
Hey you guys, me LV, and this is Lena, and we're back here on episode 14, and we're still sitting here with Tommy.
Oh yeah.
Now, Tommy, we're talking a little bit about how your skin smells like barbecue sometimes.
Sometimes.
Okay, maybe all the time. Oh no.
I want to hear about how you cook it.
Every time it's done the same way, but when you're working with wood, there's different types of wood. There's different cuts, there's different splits, there's different grades, different sizes. But I use oak, pecan, and mesquite, like I said, in the fire. So when I start my fire, what I do is I take my meat and I leave it out, and I get it to about room temperature, and I cook my briskets at about 12 to 15 pounds is where I like them. leave the decal fat on because my cooking process is 20 hours of smoke. So 20 hours of smoke is a long time. So what I'm doing is building that fire perfectly where it burns the whole fire for 20 hours, but it doesn't burn at the same temperature. It drops, I start my very hot at about 400 degrees. Then it'll drop down to about 225, somewhere around there, in about 2 hours. And the reason that is because it starts with the pecan that I layer on the bottom of the fire. So it burns through that pecan. Pecan burns really hot, really fast, and really sweet. It's got a real sweet flavor to it. And then I leave a big log of oak right in the middle of that and when I build my fire. And then when it hits that oak, after it burns the pecan, it hits that oak, and that oak cools down the fire because the oak is so dense, it gives it a nice smooth smoke. So it gives it a different flavor coming out at a different time. That meat is already opened up. It's already gotten hot. It's already up to temperature. The outside, the bark's starting to build. It's awesome. Then at the end, it'll hit those couple pieces of mesquite on the top that everybody uses in Texas. That's indigenous to here. I use all types of oaks, from not reds, but blackjack oak is my favorite. People don't use that because it's too hard, it's too dense. Post oak, of course, things like that. But the mesquite is what gives it that nice sharp finish, like a sharp cheddar cheese, man. Like it gives you that bite, and you can just taste that richness in it. So we go from there, and I use my own rubs, my own seasoning. I use a steak seasoning and a rub. I do use a base that holds the seasoning on there. So I'll take that and I'll rub my meat down and I talk to it, man. It talks back to me, and I've set it in positions on my pit where I have a hot, cold, and a hot side. So it's only pulling it, and it has a reverse osmosis flow to it with one exhaust on the end. So I'll do that, and then during the cooking process, when the meat starts to push out the grease and the blood and everything, you can see it coming out. We use orange, we use lime, and what orange and lime does, it has an acid in it, and that opens up that meat at a certain temperature at about 2 hours in it when it starts to cool down, and the seasoning starts to pop and starts to go into that meat, man. It's beautiful. At the end, and when I pull the brisket out, this is the only time I wrap them. I put them on our pie rack, and I let them rest. So when you use your meat all night, you usually got to let it rest. Yes. So 20 hours of smoking, you got to rest that. So this is where the 32-hour process comes in. So it's on pie racks, and I cool it slowly. I go from 160 dead center on my largest brisket. I wrap it in foil, I put it on the rack, let it cool, and it drops from 160 to about 74, 76 degrees, somewhere around there. And then after it hits that, I'll take it and put it in the refrigerator, drop it down to 40. So now that's a rested meat. So now you got meat that's cured because of the salts in the cooking process and because of the smoke. Now you have the cured meat wrapped and already rested. So you're taking it cold, then I bring it back to life the next day on its own coals that it smoked in. There's no smoke on it for the next 4 hours. It's just to bring it back to temperature to serve.
And where can we find more of your amazing food online?
Like I said, go online. You go to Tommy's with apostrophe S Smoke Barbecue on Facebook and Instagram. You can catch me on my website, smokebbq.com. You can go there. Come to Rebecca Creek. Go to RebeccaCreek.com. Texas Internet Radio. There's a lot of places to find me. Come out to Canyon Lake, come see me. I'm going to start doing a podcast teaching people how to smoke the traditional way with wood, natural smoker. Use your own ingredients, all natural ingredients. Don't buy that sugar and the brown sugar and all this sweet. Man, keep it Texas. Keep it simple, man.
Well, your meat sounds awesome. We would like to see it.
Heck yeah.
But for now, we'll be back. And just keep watching. We'll be back with more here on LView. Bye.
Lena, what are you doing?
Look what I got. It's a new t-shirt.
A new t-shirt? Where's that from?
It's by LVnthelife from Austin T-Shirt Lab.
What's a t-shirt lab?
I know, and guess what?
What?
It's only $20, and every time you buy a t-shirt, it helps our show, LView.
Man, that sounds great.
Feel it. Isn't that nice?
Man, that's soft.
Would you wear it as a pajama shirt?
Baby.
Sit there with your popcorn, watching Netflix in your LVnthelife t-shirt.
That sounds great.
Am I ready? Am I ready?
No,
Oh.
you're not ready. You don't have a hat.
Oh.
Yeah, a Lena hat.
I'm Lena hat.
Yep, here. Now you're complete.
Thank you.
LVnthelife, guys.
Okay.
Hey, you guys, it's me, LV, and this is Lena. And we're back here with Sarah, and there's no H at the end of Sarah. So, Sarah, or SJ.
Very good.
So, what exactly were you doing before the art?
I mean, I was an undergrad when the car accident happened, but I was actually undecided because I went to college at a time when you could actually not claim a major until you were in for a couple years, you know?
Oh, yes.
though I ended up getting a degree in international relations with a minor in Dutch. Art-wise, I'm a child of the 70s, so I grew up doing endless amounts of tie-dye, batik, and macrame. You know, I probably still have some macrame plant hangers and owls in families' homes because my mom was big on us making our Christmas gifts.
Can you tell us more about your style of work that you do?
I do a lot of figurative work and representative work, but I'm not a realist. So I like to say kind of contemporary realism, which is I do work that you can tell what it is. I don't do abstract work, but it's in a more painterly style. Right now I'm working on the Lizzie project. Because of the pandemic, I couldn't go to life drawing, and she knew that that was something that was really important to me. So she, you know, working out on her own as all dancers were during the pandemic, sent me a bunch of gestures and poses that she just shot from her iPhone and sent them to me so that I could like do the Sumi ink gesture drawings. And I started working on those, and as I was working on those, I realized like, oh, I'd really like to do more, more refined, more detailed work. I didn't want to just do super simple line and wash. I really wanted to develop them more. And so as I was working on those, it occurred to me that, I just started thinking about all the artists like me, alone in painting, no more going to like shows, no more, all of those things. All of us faced a lot of isolation in the whole shutdown period. Anyway, I realized like there are so many dancers that are grounded. So I decided I wanted to create a body of work dedicated to all the dancers who were grounded during COVID, and I'm sure some are still grounded depending on where they are in the world and what their conditions and, So far I've done 10 watercolors, more than 10 Sumi ink gestures. Lizzie just modeled for me on Friday so I could do all the Sumi inks. And then I'm just starting, during the pandemic, I just started learning how to use oils. And so I'm trying to get 10 oil painting portraits done of her as well.
So where can we find more of your work?
You can find me at sarahjaneparsons.com, and there'll be links on my website to both my Instagram and my Facebook.
Well, that's it for now. Just keep watching, keep liking, keep following here on LView. Bye.
Bye.